All right, let's just jump right in. AI coding tools, things like GitHub Copilot or ChatGPT, they've absolutely revolutionized how software gets made. I mean, they promise this incredible world where we can build things faster than ever. But as we're about to see, that amazing speed, it comes with a pretty serious hidden cost.
And when I say this has changed the game, I mean, it has completely taken over. A 2024 GitHub survey found that a mind-blowing 97% of developers are using these tools. So, this isn't some niche thing anymore. It's the new normal. It's just how code is written now.
And you can see why, right? The appeal is just massive. The whole idea is to speed up development, let us developers focus on the creative stuff instead of just boiler code copy, and maybe even let people who aren't coders build real applications. We're really talking about going from an idea to working code in literally minutes.
But here's where the story takes a sharp turn. With all that speed, a big recent study dropped a really alarming number. Almost half, 45% of all the code that AI generates has security vulnerabilities. That productivity boom might just be building us a house on a shaky foundation.
So this really gets us to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? This high-stakes trade-off between moving fast and staying secure. A really good way to think about it is that these AI assistants are like junior developers on steroids. They're incredibly fast, they get a ton of work done, but they're also super prone to making those rookie security mistakes if you don't have the right oversight and checks in place.
Now, what's fascinating about this number is where it comes from. Researchers looked at over 100 different large language models, and they found this exact split. But here's the part that's actually more worrying. You'd think the newer, smarter models would be getting better at this, right? Well, they're not. Not really. This problem isn't just going to solve itself.
Which, of course, leads to the next logical question. What are these flaws exactly? Are we talking about minor little bugs, or are these the kinds of big, critical holes that give security teams nightmares?
Well, the data is, wow, it's pretty clear. When they tested these AI models on some of the most common and dangerous flaws, they failed to stop log injection a shocking 88% of the time. Cross-site scripting was right behind it at 86%, and this just perfectly shows the core issue. The AI often doesn't have the context to clean up user data, leaving these giant security gaps wide open.
Okay, so why is this happening? How can these incredibly powerful models be so bad at some fundamental security practices? Let's break down the reasons why.
It really boils down to three main problems. First, you've got the training data. These models learn from tons of public code on the internet. And guess what? A lot of that code is already insecure. Garbage in, garbage out. Second, the AI has no idea what your larger application is doing. It just spits out a code snippet in a vacuum. And finally, it just can't do the deep analysis to track how data moves around, so it has no way of knowing if some data is safe or if it's malicious.
And you've got to understand, this isn't just about a few isolated bugs. No, the real danger is how all these little bits of insecure code start to pile up. It creates this massive, growing risk for the whole organization, and there's a name for that. It's called security debt.
Think of security debt like credit card debt, but for your code. It's the total cost of all the security shortcuts and unfixed problems you have. And every single time a developer just accepts a piece of vulnerable AI code, they're adding to that debt. As it grows, the whole system just gets more and more fragile, more expensive to fix, and way easier for someone to attack.
This isn't just a technology problem. It's a people problem, too. We're seeing what's called a trust paradox, where developers, especially when they're on a tight deadline, are way more likely to just trust the AI and paste its code in without a second thought. And at the same time, there's a real long-term risk of skill degradation. I mean, if we just let AI write all our code, will the next generation of developers even know how to code securely on their own?
Okay, so I know that all that sounds pretty grim, but the solution isn't to just give up on these incredibly useful tools. Not at all. It's about learning how to use them the right way, by building a really secure foundation around them. So let's talk about how to actually do that.
The absolute key here is to build automated security right into your workflow. That means using static analysis, or SAST, to scan the AI's code for problems before it even gets saved. Then you use dynamic testing, or DAST, to poke at the application while it's actually running. And finally, use software composition analysis, SCA, to make sure the AI didn't bring in any third-party code with known problems.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We already have these best practices for making sure the code we write is safe. The logic is exactly the same, just because a machine wrote it. You have to apply those same tough standards. It's that simple.
And here's a really cool twist in all of this. We can actually use AI to fight the security problems created by, well, by other AI. But not just any AI. We're talking about specialized models that have been trained specifically on security.
And when you bring in these specialized AI security tools, the results are pretty dramatic. They can help you slash the time it takes just to detect a vulnerability by as much as 92%. But finding a problem is only half of it. These same tools can then help your developers fix those vulnerabilities up to 200% faster, giving them really precise suggestions right inside their coding environment.
And maybe the most important part of all, developers actually use this stuff. There's an incredible 80% acceptance rate for these AI-powered fixes. That shows you this isn't just some theory. It really works in the real world, in their day-to-day workflow.
But look, technology is never the whole answer, right? You also have to get your processes right. That means setting up clear governance rules for how these AI tools are supposed to be used, training your developers to write secure prompts that specifically ask the AI for safe code, and keeping good records for compliance and audits.
So after all that, what does the future of development really look like? Well, it means that AI isn't going anywhere. It's going to be a core part of how we build things. The goal now is to make sure that future is not only fast and smart, but also fundamentally secure.
And the payoff for getting this right is just huge. Companies that figure out how to blend the amazing speed of AI with strong automated security, they won't just be safer. They're going to have a massive competitive advantage. They'll be able to innovate faster and more safely than anybody else.
So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one crucial thought. We're past the point of arguing about if we should use AI in development. That ship has sailed. The real question, the one we all have to answer now, is how? Do we master it? How do we take all of its power without inheriting all of its flaws? That's the challenge and the opportunity that's right in front of us.